All right. Oh, got my echo going. Let's get rid of that. Oh, man. I just had like a 6-hour video conference call. So I just got done with work, which is all remote now. It means I can sit my butt in this chair all day and then stream in the evening or work on my own thing. Cuts an hour and a half of commute out of my day. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, then I also was on a camera for like five and a half hours, and so I'm gonna do more of that because who doesn't need more cameras pointed at you? Awesome. Well, let me get something going here musically, and we can get going. Meanwhile, yeah, Unity's checking for changes. That's collab that. It scans everything and makes sure that nothing has changed in the whole project every time you start it up, which is one way of handling source control. Not necessarily my favorite, but that is what it is. Let's see, what do I have here? Was I gonna get some music in here? Boop. Snip, that's the name of that damn program. I keep forgetting. It's supposed to like put whatever track I'm playing up here. See what you do, Snip. You figure this out? Come on, tough guy. What do you got? This will work great. Okay, so make sure I got voice. Oh, yep. I got voice. Got voice. Excellent. Get the music going here. Oh, Symphony Night. I would love that, but let's try this. Feel a little MIDI-ish, I guess. How about? Okay. Let's see what we got. Excellent. Still checking for changes, so that's pretty awesome. Who doesn't want to check for changes? Right now I'm looking at my Google Drive here. Wanted to look at some planning notes. So I have no plan at all for today because again, just got off work and I'm like trying to get my head out of this new. It's another game I'm working on. So then in the morning I get to work on a certain game, get my head down it around it, and then of course in the evening it's Autofire, which is always the thing. Let's see here. Onboarding is what I called it. Move that back over here. Oh, got some onboarding going here. These are some notes I took during the last stream about things that seemed like they would have been useful for a player that was coming on that was entirely new to the game, so that they had a good experience. And so I did a few things since last stream. I guess that was a week ago. Not as much as I usually do because again I was like working and making money and stuff, which is always handy to do sometimes. So I do have some tutorial messages and stuff like that. Let me run through that, and we can kind of check things off our list as we complete them. Come on, you. Oh, come on. Hurry up. Finish checking for changes. So I wanted to set up an immediate goal. I wanted the player to know about an enemy boss that they were going to kill, tell you about the faction they were going to take out, and ideally give the player a quest to take out the enemy boss when they start the game. Now that last one, I spent a lot of time working on my quest system because it's very loosey-goosey, right? So when you it's designed for everything to be proc gen. So basically when I set up a quest for me to explicitly say, oh, by the way, take out the dude inside that outpost over there. I don't really have that. I have, like, find an outpost nearby and take out the boss, whoever might be there, right? I've got stuff that's that sort of vagueness, and to come up with a workflow that allows me to thread things to specific targets is something I don't have. And so I started on that over this past week, and I was tearing my hair out all weekend just trying to get my head around it, and I sort of backed off from it a little bit because I knew that there was more that I could do in short order to try and make this experience better. So let's just kick this up, start her up. Let's see how it goes. Oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. Wrong. Whew. Obviously, I haven't run the game in a day or so because it's coming up slowly here. Come on. It's amazing. This is like high-tech development here. Okay. Alright, I'm going to restart actually again, believe it or not. It should start quicker though, so. Let's go find the base game. Base game is like the central map that spawns all the other maps, so it's the central repository for all the game managers and systems. So generally if I run that, it will kick off a real campaign, you know, not just a bootstrapped like campaign where it just sandwiches in the map you have loaded. It actually builds the whole thing from scratch, and that gives me all the startup stuff that I need. If I load one of these other maps, like if I load a combat map or something right away, it'll work, but it doesn't thread together quite as nicely because it's sort of like comes up with a fake sector to put it in the overworld, and kind of sandwiches in there and something that doesn't really exist and makes a few connections, and everything's kind of only half there. You know, main thing is if I want to just fire up a map, I want to make sure I can do it easily. All right, so this stuff is all the same. Hey, stranger, you live in there? Oh, what happened? Well, looks like you got shut up pretty darn good out there. All right. So she now wants you to take out the named boss of this area. So it says we got a lot of trouble from the bomb makers this week. The bomb makers being the gang of this sector that's just generated each time. And we need to get them running by taking out Explosive Shepherd for us, which is just an amazing name. Explosive Shepherd. Gotta ship that. All right, see what I can do. So before this, I had just sort of kicked out a lot of like a big wall of text. I kind of peeled it back a little bit, so you just get this little bit of a tutorial that says you're looking a little rough after your accident. Take it slow. Press up to start accelerating forward, and take the left stick and press A on the gamepad. In fact, I'll do that right now. Got it. Okay. There's the homestead. So I just have these like quick little mini encounters that are sort of our tutorial. This teaches you how to steer, which is always good. So you move forward and you immediately come into the thing that tells you how to steer. So, oh, look at this, I can steer. Cool. Most players understood this pretty easily without having to be told, but why not just set the tone. This talks a little bit about moving and that you catch speed, and then you can pull back to stop, right? So that moving forward and velocity and slowing down and stopping and reversing is all a thing. So hopefully that's enough at least for the players to understand that basic core concept, that idea that it's not just the direction I point in with my stick or the direction I use my keys for, but also that I'm going to pick up velocity and I'm going to move in the last direction I was pointing at and all that stuff. So let's move here. First to the fight. Hey, it's a group of bomb makers. Explosive Shepherd would be pissed if word got out. Guess we got to finish the job. Stupid Explosive Shepherd. All right, so bring it. So this is a little lighter. It isn't like Babalu, the rival that you've never heard of, paid us to take you out. It's a little early to be bringing that stuff in. So this is just like, there's a big bad gang boss, and you should probably kill that dude, right? So, but first we got to deal with Steely Gecko, the person we just encountered. This stuff is all the same. Let's move it. Find Steely Gecko, that jerk. Alright. Bring it. Bring it, Steely Gecko. Go a little faster here. A lot of hitches. It's really just how it plays in the editor, although I gotta keep an eye out for those hitches because sometimes it means that there's a shader cache or something that's not initializing properly, and I have tools to actually deal with some of that stuff. Well, Unity has tools to deal with some of that stuff. I'm not so awesome as to be able to write that stuff myself, or at least I want to focus on making games rather than weirdo tools. But let's take out Steely Gecko here. Oh, come on, dude. We got one more shot. There we go. Mission complete. So he puts out some emojis and stuff like that. Been playing around with that, just trying to get it. It's silly, right? But it's kind of fun to get a little social media feel, because in the end, if that's how it's supposed to feel, that's totally fine, right? These guys. Bam. Nice. And let's go to the Big Plains. So it's going to show me the way to the Big Plains. So one thing I need to do yet is have a little pop-up when you come over and exit. If it's the B key or the enter key that's actually going to make me leave, I want to have that over the head of the player when you're over an entrance, right? So I got to add that, and I think that's the case. I'm going to mark these as done. I don't have a player quest to kill Explosive Shepherd here, but let's just mark this off. Strike through. It's Alt-Shift-5. I keep forgetting. The auto map, I don't have the name of the... Well, I have the name of the map. I guess that's counts. Alt-Shift-5. I don't have information about who owns it or anything like that. Let me mess with that. Actually, I can take care of some of that. We'll just get that all out of the way. Who owns the map, the challenge level of the map? Basically just information that the player's going to want to know. And if they bring up the auto map and it gives them additional info, then that's great, right? So, sweet. So, I'm going to head out here. Now when I hit B, it actually starts to try to move forward because it's still waiting and trying to execute another frame before it actually tries to exit. And that's on me. It's just a straight up like just the quirk of how I set things up. All right. So here's a new thing. Change me, a new encounter. Wow, I obviously did not name that. Change me, a new encounter is telling me that I must have salvaged a great little weapon from that fight. And it actually spawns a bolt thrower right there. And you can install a weapon on each side of your vehicle, but you can't make changes in the field. But you can install it in that automation garage over there. So I'm not going to force you to go to this darn thing, but I'm at least going to try and encourage you to go there, right? So here you are. I know that I dropped a bolt thrower. I did not drop a bolt thrower. How awesome is that? I didn't drop a bolt thrower. Okay, so I got to fix that. But since I got a scattergun, I'm going to put that... actually, I'll put the heavy... Ooh, let's put the heavy machine gun up front. Oh, stop that. Remove item. Remove item. Heavy machine gun up front. We'll put the regular machine gun in back. and scattergun on the side. I like having scatterguns on the side. It gives you a good little drive-by action going on. All right, great. This interface is still trash, in my opinion, but I want to basically the key here is not just to rework it. In the short term, I just want to make sure that it is the player is guided to it, and it works enough for them to be able to buy and sell and gather and install, and you take advantage of all the stuff that is in the game right now. Right? If this menu is too terrible and is buggy, it's just it's not going to be good. So that's the plan there. All right, so I'm going to exit here. Hey, look at that, all-weather tires. Ooh, I'm going to put those on. I don't want bald rubber rings, I want all-weather tires. Yeah. And that increases my handling by a certain amount. So you see here, it actually says 100 out of 115, and so it starts damaged. Ironically, that means there's no actual mechanism for healing handling. But handling is something you can get damaged by running over spikes and stuff like that. So yeah, I put the tires in the car, but actually since it didn't bring the current amount up to 115, I gotta get that fixed. Look at this, one last tutorial. There it is, the leader of the bomb makers is right in that outpost. Remember, you promised to take him out. I mean, nothing's keeping you from hitting the road north, but it would obviously be incredibly uncool if you just left us hanging. All these are the same. Oh well, actually, I could say so long, sucker, is every man for himself. Right now, there's no impact to that, other than you don't have to go and do anything. But in this case, I'm going to be a nice guy and go into Blue Bear and take out the boss of Blue Bear. This is where I don't have a quest. I don't have a quest to take out Explosive Shepherd. So actually, Strong Colt is who I'm fighting right now. Which is less than I wanted. This is where the fact that it's just generating a boss in every location and giving you it automatically gives you a quest for that. So if I go to the quest screen right now, there's a temporary quest, a local quest basically, called Defeat the Warlord. And I'm changing this so it's liberate the area from the clutches of this maniac. This is just the generic quest to kill Stronghold. And actually, I put in hooks to make this liberate the areas for the clutches of this maniac, defeat the warlord. This should all say defeat Stronghold, liberate this area from, this jerk or whatever. There's some macros that get set up that make that a little prettier. All right. Oh, all right. Let's run over here. Oh, rockets. Alright, we got 2 watchtowers, and they both happen to be, like, right the hell here. Unfortunately, machine guns are pretty crap for taking out structures. So I'm going to use my shotgun here, my scattergun. Let's see how this goes. Actually, the range of that scattergun is way bigger than I thought it was. Alright, take these guys out. Oh, there's just rockets coming from everywhere. Yeah, 1 watchtower remains. Get some Strong Colt. Tear them up, you cockroaches. Oh yeah, the scattergun is completely ineffectual against structures. That is what it does. Damn. Ouch. That hurts. Alright, make it pay, you granny spotted waste mashers. Is there another opening here, or do I have to make an entrance? Maybe I just gotta make a damn entrance. Yeah, get some. Alright, Stronghold. Okay, so... Again, we're talking about early player experience here. So players going through... they've only got one gun facing forward, and I want to be more prominent about that. And now they've got, you know, 3. I think I'll make it so the player will drop only one additional weapon, and you only get that after completing that first encounter, and you get one weapon and that's it. And the main thing is, you know, kind of explaining to the player how you can have multiple weapons if you install them, right? Come on, baby. Put out some flaming oil here. I'm gonna stun him so he goes right into that garbage and hit him with my heavy machine gun. Hey, he runs right into me because that's what he does. Shotgun him, stun him. Almost got him. Oh, come on. This is the downside. Sometimes when they're at a certain angle, it'll hit the left side and then the back, and it almost looks like you're hitting the same side, but you're not. Alright, defeat the warlord. Another despot has been vanquished. I never even got to see the blasted ocean. Because there's no ocean in this game, damn it. Alright. Alright, I'm out. Let's get the hell out of here. Come on over, everybody. Bam. Phone's buzzing like crazy. Oh. Right. Just work folk. I started work at like 7:30 and then I got down about 4:30, so it is what it is. Alright. Okay. So people are still working and sending me texts. Alright, going to Black Hawk Butte. This part I gotta fix up, because there's supposed to be a highway to Black Hawk Butte, which happens to be this map right here. The Dyed Highway. The Dyed Highway. That's just terrible. Remind me to not have that be something that gets generated. Alright, so I gotta get down the bottom of the Dyed Highway. Nice. Wreck that dude. Stay out of the way of those mines. And there's a dog after me who got stunned, so I'm not even gonna... Let's not kill these dogs. I'll stun them. It's okay. Skid. Out of control. Oh, yeah. I love running through oil. Alright. Okay. Okay, and we got assertion. So this is important, right? This is stuff I'm here to fix. Assertion failed. What is this assertion? So I got the Blackhawk Butte, and something is weird about Blackhawk Butte. I am inside the world, I bet. Yeah, there's nothing here. Let's see, free look. Let's see what happens under all the fog. Yeah, this is just solid. Oh, okay, there's some land over here. It just, the tunnel came out in the middle of some solid ground. In fact, it looks like it came out at location 00. This will happen when assertions fail, or assertions, which is Jim's least favorite feature of any programming language, as far as I can tell, makes it error out when something you expect to be true, like, hey, I know that if you're gonna be passing me this string, that it's not null or garbage, and if you check, you can check if it's garbage, and you just say assert string isn't trash, number is greater than 0, whatever. Because you know bad news is going to happen. And so it sort of soft crashes. It basically gives you a little message, tells you where it happened, and it still tries to continue. But in a lot of cases, it just makes the game just stop. So again, it's just something I've used forever, right? Like, it's old school programming stuff. But Jim has a point where, like, what good is it if you check for the thing you know to check for the thing, and then you make the game just not work if that thing fails? Like, assertions are really only valuable if they're really, really unlikely to happen, and if it's even slightly possible to happen, then, check for it and deal with that situation in a graceful way rather than have the game just crash. Alright, so it looks like what I was... wow, okay. Packed with rotation. So we were in a map. We were in the overworld map, the desert overworld map. Let's just see if that runs on its own. So I'm going to run this. Maybe I haven't run the desert overworld map in a while. Right? Drag the code over here. Ah! Yeah, look at this trash. Okay, so the right thing to do here is to debug. Click to fix what's wrong. Okay, yeah, so a problem I have with data table reading is that there are times when the data table will just fail, and because it fails, then a whole bunch of data tables that were intended to be read after it also fail. So it looks like the specific loot table I was looking at actually, this is just a regular log. So sometimes Unity will do that. It'll mislabel a regular log as an error, or a warning as a log, or it'll just mess it up. I'm not sure exactly why. Or maybe I'm high and it's this enhanced console I bought. Maybe I'm high and it's the advanced console I bought. Alright, so here we go. Loot table initialization. So none of these things are errors. What's the first real assert that failed? Okay, it's this entity element ID. So something happens in the initialization of this map where it's procedurally generating the map, and there is something wrong with what's sent over here. So let me start debugging this. We will debug it together. We will debug it together. Oh look, the Steam newsletter came. Let's... Hey, while we're at it, I'm gonna look at the Steam newsletter, because I get this newsletter now. and it tells me what games were released on Steam this past week, right? And of course the number is a stupid number. Every damn week it's like, you know, several hundred games get released, right? Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna see this. Where the hell is it? Okay, it got put in the promotional thing. Here we are. What got released? 169 new releases last week. Okay, it wasn't 400, but it feels like 400. Sweet. Great, I guess. Let me... Here. So, and it rates it, tells you how many reviews they already have, or comments. Comments, I think? Are these reviews or comments? Anyway, Age of Empires 2. Well, that certainly would be something that would get a lot of attention, right? The Jedi Fallen Order. So these things came out. Some of them are high profile. This is Devil Slayer Rakasi. Look at this. 357 very positive reviews for a game I've never heard of. That's a pretty damn good number for it coming out this past week. Oh no, it's a roguelite! Okay, so many roguelites out there. This looks pretty sweet. Alright. Yeah, okay, alright. Actually, wow, I'm kind of impressed. It's got a neat look. Alright, so, anyway, so it goes all the way down from those, like, high-profile releases to things that get, you know, look at this. Half the list is, single digits or zero, comments / reviews. Again, I'm not sure what the little bubble means. I think it just might mean community engagement. Thumbs up would be positive reviews. So yeah, this is your typical Steam release of the week. Wait a minute, VVVV. Is this the old VVVV, or is this like some new... Oh, it's somebody ripping off the old VVVV game. I think. Becker Dev Studio. Yeah, that's kind of cheap. There was a game called that. They must have just had a different number of V's. VVVVV. Yes. This is the classic that, you know, one of those early indie darlings was 6 V's and some clown. I'll call him a clown. I shouldn't be calling him that on the stream, but a little bit of clown show to come up with a game that uses 5 V's to do something that isn't even really like that game. So that's a bit of a disappointment. Anyway, that's the wonders of the Steam marketplace, right? Okay, sweet. So here we are. We're running. We started debug before I got sidetracked. I'm going to run this thing quick and see if it poops out something I can analyze what's going on. Because I need this overworld to work, right? Silly. So there is actually a show and tell, just a local Seattle indie devs show and tell session that they have like every X number of months where people can show on what sort of indie games they've been working on, and so it's super low impact. I just grab a laptop right and I go. It's at the Experience Music Project, so it's the museum. It's actually not called the EMP anymore. It's called MoPop, the Museum of Popular Culture. And it's got like indie games, and that the museum is really rad. It's one of the cooler aspects of Seattle of having that particular museum. It's like was one of Paul Allen's babies back, 20 years ago, 20 years ago-ish. So I was debugging here, and the very first thing it puked on was not what I expected. It was here. And puked because info is null. Well, look at that. There's an assert that says info is not equal null, and then it just keeps going. So apparently, all sorts of hell broke loose. Because it came in, it was so entity record. What's going on here is it's we'll kind of go through this. It's drawing a patch, and a patch is, if you've seen my stream before, is a collection of tiles that get lumped together, and I can place them down, as a big collective group. So I can have like a set piece where there's, a windmill and a little shack nearby, and maybe a spot for a barrel or some little piece of decor, and a spot where a road's gonna go, where it's gonna get connected to the rest of the road segments. When it's drawing these, I sometimes, if I set things up a little wrong, that something must have gone wrong, because I basically was just noodling this map record stuff just a couple days ago. And I know I must have done something, right? So basically in debug, it looks like I came in with this, with an ent element. An ent element is one of the pieces of the one of the elements that is in one of these patches, right? So there might be 5 objects and 10 tiles that all get laid out. So it was trying to draw this particular patch. Let's look at what patch it was trying to draw, and that may help us understand what's going on here. So patch info. So it tries to draw this patch, which was called the highway exit, right? So that's cool. That is the thing that I shove right in the corner that drills a hole through the mountains on the side of the road, or sorry, the side of the map. And it draws it with a rotation. So in this case, I rotate it by 0. It can be 90 or 180 or 270, and I give it a dimension to draw it in. So it tried drawing it in 33, 60, 35, 63. Yeah. So this was like a 3x3 or 3x4 area it tried to draw in. So that all looks legit. It didn't try drawing one in like 0 space or something, which it should do it, but gotta check everything, right? So in this case, there's a patch it tried drawing, and it hit a point where there is an object it's trying to draw, an entity, because it has a list of entities that it wants to draw, right? And that's these entity elements. See, and the first one is blank. How freaking awesome is that? Inviswall, highway sign, and then trash. So that's pretty awesome. Let's look at that patch then. I guess I gotta look at that patch. So patch highway exit is the one I'm looking for. Let's close this. Ready? Go back to the game. There it is. Actually, I don't know why it's giving me that. It's giving me that. Are you okay? Like as though I started a campaign. It shouldn't do that. It's probably a symptom of this issue. I hope so, because I don't know why it would be doing that. So I am going to load the place where I defined that patch, which is, I believe, actually I think it's patch work. Outpost work is where I put all the parts for the trash wall and some of the windmills and all that. Patch highway exit is the one that I want. Here's patch highway exit. So according to this, if I look at the game data in the patch editor, so this patch editor, again, to just explain, is something that I created to allow me to define, to read and write, to read a setup of objects in a certain order and an arrangement, and be able to retrieve them to when I'm drawing patches. So patch highway exit, here it is, right here. So look at this crap. Okay, for some reason it read in as a blank, which is like, go me. I don't really know what the hell I did. But yes, I did noodle this slightly, and I must have just noodled it in the wrong way. All right, let's check that out. So this is the patch highway, and it's got an invis wall. So some of these are entities, and then some of these are tiles. Tiles get baked into the map, and they're just laid out on a grid as you might expect. And then there might be entities on top of it, and those are gameplay elements that might have some interactive element to it. They can be exits, they can be props like this highway sign here. They can be vehicles, enemies, barrels, right? Benches, whatever. So yeah, I've got two objects here. I've got a highway sign, which may or may not be visible to y'all. Yeah, it's not covered up. Highway sign. This is a highway sign entity. We know that's one of them. The invisible wall. Now this is the thing that keeps you from being able to move past the exit and go to the very edge of the map. I want the exit to not be right butt up against the edge of the map. So this invis wall is supposed to keep you from moving into it and not going crash when you hit it. It certainly doesn't do damage, but it goes crash right now, and I gotta stifle that. And then here's the third thing. So this is what's causing me trouble, is I don't think that this had a Loc highway exit in it. And look at this. It's got a highway sign, an invis wall, and no highway exit. That's not great. Why the hell did it not have that? Okay. Let's just drag it in here. So what I do is I just take this whole thing, right? This is the tool I wrote, so it's not the best thing in the world, but it does the job. I grab that, I hit import, and now it's got the highway exit. Oh my god. Okay. So let me tell you what sort of weekend I had. Late on Sunday, I was running into bug after bug. And the problem I was having, it turned out, was that data just wasn't there, right? It would be like, this entry, I'd come up onto it, and it was like that, right? So it's like name table blank. And the way the stuff's read in, it's actually handled... the name table's handled, it doesn't care until it tries to find it and use that data. Then it'll complain, right? So, because blank is actually legit. Like sometimes there are flags that I just use the name, I don't say name true. So a blank entry is okay. Maybe I regret that decision, and I probably even could change it if I think this is going to happen a lot. But there were these blanks, right? As though that word just disappeared. And there was over a dozen of them. There were over a dozen of them. So I think what happened is one of my cats, Dean, the big fluffy one, was walking around on my keyboard, and he has an amazing ability to hit various combinations of keys that create, if he could summon Cthulhu with my keyboard, I'm sure he would. But his amazing trick, it's happened a couple times, is he hits some combination of this stupid like built-in like forward back or tabs or F keys or something, where it it fast forwards through a bunch of the documents that are open, tabs through them, and inserts a bunch of stuff, right? It's like forward, insert garbage, forward, insert garbage, forward, insert garbage, forward, insert garbage. And so, like, after one of these, I might see one thing of garbage, and then I'm like, oh, look, usually a cat walks on your keyboard, some trash, and you just delete it. Well, this is more like, find out all the mysterious hidden places where trash is inserted. And so sometimes going back in there, it's like 6-8 files have, like, trash strings in them, and you gotta find them and get rid of them and all that. And if it's a code file, code's pretty good about complaining if things aren't formed correctly, so it's a little easier to find that sort of junk in code. But what I think happened on Sunday is the cat came and he hit some combination where he went through and it just grabbed a word in each of the documents that were open and deleted a word, like the whole word. Like I don't know what key deletes the whole word, like shift, control, shift, forward, del. I don't know. I don't know how this happened, but he replaced a whole bunch of keywords with blanks, like all across my thing. There was over a dozen that I found. It does different files where this happened. I had to go through my perforce differences and look at each change that I had made and look for things where that suddenly there was a blank, or there wasn't a blank before, right? So great. That is awesome. Let's see here. Hang on a sec. All right. Whew. Okay. So yeah, like what could have happened? I swear I checked them all, right? But what could have happened here is that file was replaced with a blank in the same method. Like if that XML file was open, he might have stomped over that as well. So I'm just gonna give a quick look and see if there's any other mysterious blanks. Ugh, seriously, like, because I haven't touched that exit. I don't think. Certainly not that recently. I did like a week ago. But I thought the overworld worked at that time. Everything looks okay. So let's save this out, and let's see if the game works now. Because working is good. I like things that work. Alrighty. Sweet. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, don't run patchwork. There's no game logic in this thing, so we'll just go back out here, go to the overworld desert map, and fire it up. And I certainly hope that the little ticker with all that initial encounter doesn't kick off. It's not supposed to. Oh, it's not supposed to, but it is because... Okay, well, let's just make sure everything generates. Yeah, sweet. Okay. I don't know what caused that thing to be blank, but it was probably cat shenanigans. You watched the stream before, the cat shenanigans aren't. Kennedy is amazing, and Kennedy is astounding. That's it's a little one note there, random chat generator. That driver Kennedy really puts on a farkin' great show. It's a shame I'm not Kennedy. That is probably the biggest rival of this map. So that's going to have more and more meaning as the game development and campaign continues. Man, they're really jumping Bloody Joey. The Stalwart Wolves just freaked me out. Yeah, those Stalwart Wolves. Kennedy damn rules. Alright, so here we are on the Green Coyote Plains. And I think I want to get some more information about this map, like who owns it, what the challenge level is, and I want to put that at the top of this map. So let's just do that, because that's well, frankly, that's a low-tech thing that I can kind of do on stream. Since my brain's a little tired from having to, like, throw brain cells at this other game all day, I'm a little crispy, but it's all good. Oh man, so let's go back here. I'm gonna go to the campaign, which is the stub, level stub, and I think what I put in here is advanced campaign. Somewhere in here it decides to do the intro, is new game equals true. So I'm going to set this to false. And what that does is if I start from the title screen, it will treat it as a new game. It'll give me all that cutscene stuff. Everything's great. But it isn't going to try doing the cutscene stuff when I run some random maps, and I don't want it to do that when it gives me a random map, when I do a random map. So, alrighty. Okay, so let's bring up the that auto map and fix some stuff. Because another problem I have, here's just real quick another thing that I got to deal with. So this is an east-west highway map. This is what we get when we get a map. I never actually planned for anything other than a square map, so it stretches it, which is awesome. It's not awesome, so I gotta fix that crap too, and deal with maps that don't have a 1:1 proportion. So let's keep this map up, and we can kind of work on those both at the same time. So I'm gonna open the base game. The base game has a an auto map on it. So somewhere here in the HUD core is the map panel. Oh no, it's under pop-up. It is a pop-up. It is a pop-up. There we go. Let's check that shiz out. Boop. Okay. So here we are in our UI, and I want to look at my layout for this particular pop-up. So you see that first of all, it's not very well laid out, right? The name is a map name. The justification on this, especially since I'm using this weirdo Tiza font, is a little off, and that may even be a bad idea for me to be using that Tiza font. Tiza is this sort of Western looking thing that I use to try and make things look wooden and weathered and all that stuff, which is charming when it's in the world, right? The thing pops up over a town. But honestly, when I've been stripping it out very slowly from all the other UI, because it also is not very clean. It looks a little weird to kind of mix those fonts that way. It is a title font, so a title font can certainly be different than the regular font. But just the more I worked on like character panels and various things, like if I bring up the character panel here, character, let's hide the auto map for a sec. Let's see what I got. It's like, hey, I brought up the character panel, and here's the character anchor. This is where the character name is. Here's the car view, which is actually a rendering of the car loadout. Let's see, character panel. Yeah. All right. So if I want to learn about the character, anchors. Let's see. Let's take this out, put the garage up, and then take the character out. So in the original, like, the character's name was using that Tiza font. All sorts of things were in the Citadel and all over the place, and yeah, not so great. So let's take all that crap out. Let's edit this auto map. Easy. I'm obviously a little tired. All right. So got the map name. So let's take the let's not use this Tiza font. I've been using League Gothic for just about everything. So a friend of mine, Jeremy, who worked on like Borderlands and stuff, gave me some advice for making my UI seem less terrible, which is always good advice, right? Don't make your UI terrible. And there's a bunch of things that are really just obvious and yet not necessarily something that you do when you're making screens and stuff, right? You're just trying to get content in, and that is, let's see, is to have a plan for how you want your UI to look, how to make things look consistent, right? Where the hell is it? It's called UI Bible. Oh, there is a UI folder. Look at that. I imagine it's in there. Look at that, Visual UI Bible. So in there, he just did, from his encouraging, and it was quite useful, right? Was to go in and, before this, I had just, I'd make some brown text, and maybe I'd cut and paste the color. I'd use certain colors at certain places and other colors in other places. I'd use certain font sizes in one place and not another. And then sometimes I use that Tisa font, right? What I realized from talking to him was, I was just all over the board. So something that's really important is to just be consistent with how you're presenting all your labels and all your like important title text, your secondary text here, right? Your little mini pop-ups where you're trying to convey some information like money or something like that. Just use consistent numbers for those, right? So in this case, it's I wrote this down because how am I ever going to remember this crap, right? I use 32 point for headers. I use bold small caps, and I use the color D6 C2 96, and that's the dusty brown that you see throughout the game, right? So this is important stuff, right? To just look a little less like amateur hour, and I'm all for that. So yeah, let me do that. I'm gonna set this the color of this to be that dusty brown, right? There it is. There's the dusty brown. I want size of 32. So right now it's doing an auto size. I need to take that out and tell it to use font size 32. So this is font size 32. If I want to be consistent, so it looks exactly the same as this title here, I need to make sure there's enough room to see this entire text. And it's bold small caps, right? So small caps means that it's, reduced size capital letters. So now it matches this exactly, right? So this was really great advice he gave me. Again, it's sort of like, when you've been doing UI and art and design as long as he has, that sort of stuff is like obvious. And he's like, dude, are you like, do you have any kind of rules for setting up what sort of text you use and what color? So in this case, for subtitles, proper names, I'm using like white. It's small caps again, but it's a smaller font, and it's not bold-faced. Secondary information, that's like data readouts and stuff like that. That's going to be like gray and even smaller. So having a consistent set of colors to those things is critical, right? Otherwise, your game is just going to look like a big mashup. Things like you cut letters out of a magazine, like a ransom note or something like that, and there's your interface. So don't do that, shiz. That's something I learned. Again, seems obvious. It's like, derp, how could you not have done that? But really, like, to take the step of making a Bible and using that was the thing that was really helpful to hear from him. So let's get that shiz going. So there's really just two parts to this auto map, right? It's this big. There we go. First thing I want to do is I need to make it a little bigger. It's just too small for me to fit all the information that I want to have. So we'll make it 900 large. It's a little offset because it uses this it uses a special type of frame that's got a shadow baked into it. So the borders are very thick. So Otherwise, I could just smash it right up against the top, but I actually have to make it start a little above the top, anchor to that point, and show the thing down here. So this is my auto map, right? So it's the auto map is currently always square, and it sits right here. Come on, you. And then above it is this bunch of text. So for the purposes of this, I think I'm just going to bake the all the text into this single header. I could make, you know, 2 separate text lines, but let's try with a single text line. That's just you know, that's nuance. Like down here, it's actually separate text windows for each of these pieces. Let's just start with that. Okay. All right, so let's bring up the auto map. Auto map. And let's start with that auto map information. So the map name, I've got a reference to the map name and the map image here within the, this is the auto map object. And here I have a reference to the map image and the text block that the title appears in, right? So I want to start messing with that text block and giving a little more information in there, not just the name of the map, but the and this is a little bit big. Let's shrink this a tiny bit here. I'm gonna have to figure out what I want it to look like when I have a skinny map and it's a vertical, right? Will I just have it stretch across the middle and let this all be black, or do I want to shrink it? I think I'll actually keep it probably the same consistent location. Somebody said they also wanted a backdrop so they knew what parts were unexplored versus actually just the background of the map. So that's another thing I got to keep in mind. But here's the map name text. This is where I'm using it. It's right here under paint. When it comes time to populate this map, is when I bring it up. I call the paint function. It's like a refresh, right? And it's like, all right, I'm gonna dig up all the information that I need. So, tell you what, remember how I said I wanted to use this same header for everything? Well, I lied. I'm gonna have 2 separate text windows, and what that'll allow me to do is have a very consistent point size for all my text. Details. So we got map name right here, which I'm gonna make. Geez, that's the margin there I'm messing with here, but unintentionally. All right, stop that. Come on. Oh, we ran out of text. Ran out of music. Awkward silence. Awkward silence. Hey. I want to stay like low fidelity here. I got anything like super MIDI? All right. I don't know. Weird. Okay, sure. Ultima 9. Why? I don't know. Because nah. I was all techie here. I'm gonna where's Teleglitch or something like that. Give you something. Game soundtrack. I want something lo-fi. Here we go. Okay, so we have this location here. Map name. Okay, so the location is... Dang it, this is the worst. It's like every time I want to edit this, it keeps saying, hey, you want to edit the margin, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to edit the margin. Why are you telling me to edit the margin here? Because this is the margin. Okay, there it is. Got it. All right. It isn't editing the margin, but it's close. All right, so the details under here, I'm going to move down here. We're going to have a little bit of text here. Now this, I gotta. All right, we're gonna keep going with this Bible, right? Because who doesn't need a UI Bible? Hey, welcome to stream, people. Let's see who's up here next. Zane Kyber, XYVN. Awesome, sweet. Let's go back. Welcome to the chat room. Working on AutoFlyer tonight. And I'm just laying out some UI. So I've got an auto map here that is work in progress. It's kind of trash, but hey, it works. And I just want to have some more information for the players up here. So, but one thing I needed to do was I want to try and follow a as consistently as I can a plan, right? Like what color I'm going to use, what point size the fonts are, what the font is, whether it's bold-faced, all that stuff. Because otherwise you sort of end up with a Franken UI, and that's something that I had in the past, and I'm trying as hard as I can to avoid as time comes up. So, like this one, you know, I'm using this for a lot of the subtitles, right? And I probably should stick with that. And that is secondary information as described here. So that, by definition, is 24 point. It's EO gray. Let's go with that. So, hey, you. Why did my stuff like close down? There we are. Awesome. All right, so let's get the text together. We got our details. And this location, this is a bad guy who lives here. So I want to kind of indicate who, if somebody owns it, and if it's a faction that owns it, who that is, and what the challenge level of this map is. This is all this sort of like, you know, critical information you'll want to know if you're fighting somebody and you hit the auto map and you get a little more info about who's the dude again? You know, oh my gosh, this is level 6. I guess I should probably not go in here because I'm level 3 and I'm going to get trashed. So, all right, so let's get the color right because I'm going to do this right? The fact I'm on stream doesn't mean I'm going to do it wrong. EO. Let's make it EO. This is not small caps. This is not bold, and it's a 24 font. So there's a bad guy who lives here, and that's going to be the information that we're gonna provide here. So, perfect. I'm gonna save this just in case. I've just been having weird crashy problems lately because of another project that was giving me Unity grief. Alright, so we lost those folks. Bummer. So we lost those folks. Bummer. Alright, it's alright. We're soldiering on. Okay, bad guy lives here. And you know what? I'm going to fix something as long as I'm going through this. Top text. I no longer know when my Kickstarter is going to be, so there you go. You get the temporary information for that It's all good. Let's center that. Alignment left. Why? Why? Okay. It's all good. Okay. So that's coming along. All right, let's get this text together. Bad guy lives here. Let's give the let's make sure the pop-up auto map knows what that detail text is. Public text mesh pro UGUI detail text. All right. I definitely want to have that. So I'm going to build that, hook that up, so that we're able to edit that as well. Details. Great. Okay, details. All right, we got details here. Map name text. We're verifying it. This is one of those asserts that Jim likes so much. But I'd rather have the game complain immediately when this isn't around. So, all right. So we got map name text is the name of the map. That's going to stay consistent. Now detail text. Dot text equals. All right, so we want a bit of information. If we have a boss, if this map is controlled by a faction, we want to be told of that faction. If this map is owned by a boss, which is part of that faction, right? We want that to see that also. So probably just gonna and I don't know why I'm being so verbose here. Also, challenge level of the map would be nice. So we could have one string that says boss name with maybe parentheses, boss name, and then it's the whoever, right? The Thunder Strikers. With maybe parenthesis level X. It's not great. It would be very programmery looking, but let's take a shot at that quick. So the first thing is I need to find out if that boss, if this map is controlled, and I have some resources for that. I think I query the campaign manager. So there's get owning faction, yeah. And that is get the current owning faction, right? Faction equals get owning faction. Well, that teleglitch is I'm not enjoying that. I don't actually. It's really part of the soundtrack here. Let's go back to Shatter here. All right, great. All right, so I also want to know if there is a boss. Agent equals campaign manager dot get owning. So there's a get sector boss. All right. here I think I'm querying the this loc dot get owning agent. Yeah, get owning agent. That's the boss. So why I would ask the campaign manager one bit of information and the location another bit of information is kind of terrible. So to be fair, this loc dot get owning. Wow. All right. That's not a great way of going about it, right? So in some cases, I'm querying one object for information that's very similar, and in other cases, I'm grabbing something completely different, right? Get owning faction. Okay, get sector boss. I just never made a get boss. Public static agent get owning agent. So let's put this into the campaign manager. If it's all going to live in the campaign manager, I'd rather have that be the case. Return per location dot get owning agent. Simple dibble, right? Get the agent, boss, mayor, etc. of this current map. And that's pretty important, right, to be able to have that. Right, so let's change the campaign manager to do that. Get owning agent. Okay, so now we're asking a consistent, using a consistent method. All right, so let's assemble this. Let's string build stir equals string dot empty. If agent not equal null. Build string equals agent dot pretty name. So we just want his pretty name, his or her pretty name, right in there. And then what we don't know is we don't know if there is a well, if there's so one thing we do. Okay, to be fair, there's one thing we know: if an agent is an owner of a location, then that agent's faction is also the owner of a location. So if there is a cool guy, Citizen McGee, in charge, then the citizens are going to be in charge of that location. If it's a Thunder Raiser, like, you know, Johnny the Razor, then the Thunder Raisers are going to be the owners. So basically, this would be an example of an assert, but basically, if we do find an agent, we know we're going to find a faction. But it is possible there is no agent, and yet the faction still has hung on to it. So in this case, I'm just going to add pretty name plus, let's just give it a dash there. This is all like so elementary, right? But I don't know, just kind of got to do this stuff. So and then if faction is not nailed, no. I mean, it's got to be owned by somebody, and if it is, it may not be owned at all, right? So that is a possibility. But we're never going to end up with, here, I will even write that. We will never have an agent without that agent also owning, that agent's faction also owning the location. Owning agent. All right. Pretty simple. So we just want the name of that faction, right? Pretty name. And then the other thing we want, and this is pretty much a given if you've got a faction there, is we want to know what challenge level this is, right? World current map, this location dot get current challenge. Perfect. That's exactly what I need. Great. Sweet. We're just building this damn string, and then we're gonna detail text equals build string. So we just built the string. Yeah, there's some garbage as I'm assembling at this, but it only actually builds this string the very first time that automap comes up. And every time I bring it up, it'll refresh that. Or if I hit paint again for some reason, if difficulty changes or something like that. So, all right, so we got that information down. Let's run it quick to make sure everything works. Here's our auto map. Fierce Walker, Gators 2. Oops, I didn't say what challenge, that it was a challenge level, right? So it's Fierce Walker of the Gators. So here's another thing that I can do. When I am querying the faction manager, right? I can do some stuff like I can put out the little icon of the faction I'm in, and I like to do that, right? If it's a bandit, it's got a knife. If it's a mutant, it's got like a skull. And you know, the point is that there's a theme, right? If it's a briefcase, it's a corporation. So let's put that into. And as I recall, faction manager dot get icon string. That's what I want for a faction type. So faction dot type. Perfect. I'm going to put a space in there just so that we get a little more space. And then the other thing I need to do is challenge space there. Got it. Let's see how that looks. Maybe it's red. Maybe it's garbage, right? You guys will see. You guy will see all this right now. Oh, the wonders of streaming late and having yeah. Hey, welcome to stream, second person. Hey, all right, so we got our little auto map, the Bleecker Expressway, Challenge Level 2, Perilous Butler of the Dogs is what that's all about. Let me check get icon string. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. All right, when I'm filling this out, I'm using get icon string to assemble the faction from token, the campaign manager. Yeah, get icon string should work great. I don't know why it's not. Sweet. All right, we want to bring up our auto map again. So the get icon string, here's what it does. There is a dictionary of items in there, and it is very explicit, right? Like right here when I start up the faction manager, I just build my own dictionary. It's super stupid and low tech, right? And I just populate it with gang, mutant, military, corp, duelist, citizen, and you know, then it's got this icon string, which in Tex-Mex Pro, oh, that's why it doesn't work. Okay, so here's the thing about Tex-Mex Pro. You can show icons and stuff like that, right? You can basically build your own emojis and call them, which is awesome. Very cool. But you got to tell it what emoji set to use. So in this case, I have auto font icons, and I'll fire this up quick so you can see what's in it. It's actually kind of cool. Nice little system. So I built this atlas of icons, right? These are all things that I can call within Tex-Mex Pro and just have them part of a text string, right? By using a string like, you know, sprite name equals backslash or quote knife end quote. You know, I can use that escape sequence basically, and then I can set it up in here, right? So this is where I like dissect the various parts of the. Well, here's the glyph table where I actually say. You know, from 128 at location 256 to 384 on this page from that atlas you just saw, carve that out, and that's going to be the gas can, and then I'm going to be able to reference it from here, which says if I say knife, use that, you know, graphic. So that's the part that I had missed. Easy peasy, right? Sometimes this stuff is really simple. Oh, look at that shit. I don't know what this null reference manager is, but let's check that out quick. I don't feel... Oh, okay, there's something I did right here, right at the startup. When I preloaded. Awake. Preload. Alright. Great. What's this shiz? Alright. I did point it to the right spot, right? Okay, so I've got map image, details. This all looks good. Great. Let's clear this out. Let's save again. And just run this. Is that stupid like pop-up bug still gonna happen? I might be just too crispy to kind of know something simple that I didn't do right. No reference exception. Look at that shit. Okay. Right. Handled exception. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so we got that. Here it is. Perilous Vultures, Pumas Challenge 2. Interesting. It still did not, yeah, let's re-enable this. This text string did not actually appear with the emojis I was planning on using. There it is. Let's test this out. So if I type sprite equals knife right here. Oh, look at that. I'm not getting anything. All right. Save this out, right? Just, oh, not sprite equals knife. That's garbage. sprite name equals knife. Yeah, there it is. I'm still wondering what's going on with that. Sprite name equals knife. Okay, so I know that this is set up properly. Everything is good, but I am a little dubious of the setup for this because of this error that just pops up. So we enable. Wow, it really does not like that error. Whatever, it's like, whatever problem it's having here. It's attached to Unity. You guys get to watch me debug. Alright. It's fired up. Fired up, baby. So AutoMap woke up. It tried looking up map icon prefab. UI map icon underscore PF. Tried loading that shiz and Pool Object Dict did not get set up properly. Why is Pool Object Dict not set up properly? Oh, okay. So this is the problem. I have a little bit of issue with UI can be a little finicky. It's sometimes when things aren't initialized in the correct order. This could be a little bit dodgy. So what I forgot to do, and really I just need to make it automatically go through this and shut down all the UI panels that I was working on. But basically, it just wants this to be closed before I start. Yeah, right? Like, it's just that. So, alright, here we are. I got Nelly the Gecko, Cannon Makers. For some mysterious reason, it still is not showing that icon. I just want to see what that string looks like. I did write it correctly, right? Details. Cannon Makers. Okay, so the problem is that when it tried to assemble that faction, it actually returned nothing. So that's weird. So down here where it's filling out all the information about the name of the map and the name of the opponents, I'm calling getIconString faction.type here. Let's put a breakpoint here and see what's happening, because that's actually a little weird. It should, I mean, it's just a regular gang. It's got, you know, Cannon Makers and all that. That's just a regular gang name. It might, for some bizarre reason, have a gang type of none, which I don't know why that would be, but it could be an oversight on my part. Well, of course it's on my part. It's not on your part. Let's just have this happen quick. Let's get this solved. Okay, yeah, well, here's where it's trying to populate the highway. I don't want that. What I want is to bring up my damn auto map, and I want it to hit a breakpoint when I hit the damn auto map. Okay, here it is. So it's trying to build this string, and it came up with a faction. Right! So guess what? There I added a new type of faction called Tutorial. That is a default faction. And it is not the faction that I want to be. It doesn't have an icon associated with it, but it should. It's a gang. I want the player when they first. The only time the tutorial faction appears is in the very first sector, and that's a regular gang. So when I'm assembling this, faction manager right here. Let's stop debugging. Stop all the downloading. All right. So when I use the tutorial, it's pretty simple. Tutorial. Got my caps lock on. I also want to see a knife, right? So it's pretty dumb. Alright, Eagle, the Fierce Dragons, challenge level 2. Let's just clean this up a little bit. I don't think that looks very good with the dash and all that. So we're just going to put a couple spaces in there. And I'm going to say challenge level, because that's the terminology I use in the other places I talk about challenge in plain English. It's Immortal Isabel, part of the Carnivores, challenge level 2. Great. Okay, so we got that going. So then the other thing I want to do is, I've got this map image, right? So let's just bring up this auto map again. I know I'm causing trouble. Alright, so the other thing I just wanted to do is I've got this map image, right? And it's placed in sort of an unusual way. It's a specific size, right? It's 768, 768. Nice kind of semi-programmery number there. If I want to reduce its size, unfortunately, 768, say I want to reduce it to 512, right? It's going to shrink to the bottom. And the reason for that is that the center point is set to grow from the bottom of the map, which makes sense in a sense, right? It's because if the level has well, it kind of makes sense. It doesn't make great sense, but the idea that I wanted the very bottom of this pop-up to always, if I want this pop-up to grow based on the size of the map, that's how I would do it. What I'm gonna do, because I think actually I'm gonna, like for skinny maps, I'm actually okay if it looks like this. Because the reason for that is skinny maps in the other direction will look like this. And so if it's not square, there'll be dead space. And so I'm just going to make it consistent. And that way, maybe, I might even want to do a backdrop or frame or something around that space where the map goes, so that players kind of understand what's going on. So what I'm going to do is, let's check it out here. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking that graphic, right, that map text, and I've got so it's the sprite. So I'm basically I create a texture buffer and I point the map at it, and then I edit that texture to look like whatever I want the map to look like, right? Based on what cells are filled in or whatever. Oh yeah. So actually it's 6:12. I've actually been streaming a lot longer than I thought I was going to be. I wish I'd got more done today, but at least I found a few bugs and cleaned some stuff up. Actually, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Otherwise, I'm going to be here all night kind of noodling with this screen. Thanks for streaming with me. It's been good. I will be around next Tuesday, 4:30. It seems to be the new time, and I hopefully will have an actual concrete plan and talk about how it went at the Mopop this coming weekend. So, all right, take it easy.